I was always blown away at this one director who always seemed to have people donating crazy things to his program. A baby grand piano, a brand new Barry sax, getting other instruments completely overhauled and worked on, and just people donating
money.
And I asked him, I said, how in the world do you do this? How do you get all this stuff? What he told me was probably the best advice I've ever heard. He said, just talk about it. People don't know that you need something until you say you need it. At concerts, at board meetings, wherever you are, and when you have people come up and ask you how's the program going, go, it's going great. Man, we could really use some ukuleles, or man, we could really use this, or we can really use that. And you'll be amazed at some people who go,
well, how much does that cost?
Well, about this much.
Oh, well, we could do that for you.
It happens all the time. People don't realize it. I used that advice today, actually. I'm working on my rehearsal space for my band, and it is a big room. I don't have the money to put like high-end sound dampening material up there. So I'm using easy materials like blankets and towels and other things. I just posted online and said, hey, my band is working on this. Does anybody have towels or blankets they don't need? I got a good response from a few people. Now I have a bunch of new material that I can work with and hopefully finish this project.
Your love is pulling me in. My nuclear fusion can't win. You're my galaxy girl. Our love is out of this world. Our love is like the universe, it's expanding every day. You're my galaxy girl. Our love is out of this world. Na 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 na. Into the stars, we're gonna go flying past Mars. Your eyes are brighter than the sun. Now I know that you're the one. Your love is pulling me in. My nuclear fusion can't win. You're my galaxy girl. Our love is out of this world.
I have 10 more panels to make, and I got all the parts all cut up and ready to go. Now I just have to put them together.
Our love is like the universe, it's expanding every day. You're my galaxy girl. Our love is out of this world. Na 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 na. Sky, you give me light.
Oh, that was not fun. That really sucked. That was painful. Anyway, here we go. All the frames are made. I got 2 of them already have some fabric on them, but I'm done for tonight. I can't. I've been crawling on the ground for like 2 hours straight. My neck hurts.
I made a wish upon a shooting star. I waited and your love is pulling me in. My nuclear fusion can't win. You're my galaxy girl. Our love is out of this world. Our love is like the universe, it's expanding every day. You're my galaxy girl. Our love is out of this world. Love is pulling me in. My nuclear fusion can't win. You're my galaxy girl. Our love is out of this world. Our love is like a universe, it's expanding every day. You're my galaxy girl. Our love is out of this world. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
Take 2.
Up here on on my throne. I sit here all alone, seeing her standing there with wind blowing in her hair. Looking into the skies, I see her ocean blue eyes, walking hand in hand and making footprints in the sand. Waves rolling on the beach, I see her perfect white teeth. Looking into the skies, I see her ocean blue eyes. With the sunset.
All right, here's the big reveal. I'm gonna show you guys what I got so far, and I'm gonna give you a little tour around the loft and show you what we got up here, because pretty much everything in the loft is something that is either sentimental or just something of kind of the Skaz Band's history. Right here is the Skaz Christmas tree. Now, this Christmas tree is decorated by several things. One, broken mouthpieces, random ornaments whenever I find a good one that I think, you know, is musical. These little fluffy things here are actually plumes from my old high school. They were throwing them out because they got new plumes, and they gave them to another road rep, and he brought them in, and no one wanted them. I took them to every single director I knew, and nobody wanted them, so I decorated the tree with them. We had a song on our first album called Santa Played the Berry. So when I found this little guy here, I had to get it because Santa Claus playing a saxophone. That's awesome. And that just kind of grew into everything else. We found the Eminem guy playing saxophone. Then there was this snowman playing piano to accompany Santa Claus. And then, of course, my crowning achievement, the Bing Crosby animatronic singing puppet. I don't know what it is. But yeah, so that's that. This is a signed drumhead by the band Here Come the Mummies. I got that when I worked at Limelight Eventplex. This is a picture from our second album, Run in the Rain, and this is the poster that we got for that, and it has a picture of everybody who helped record that day. This is from actually doing our first album, Can't Wait for Christmas, and these are just a bunch of posters that we have done concerts over the years of. There's some articles. Lucas, my brother, and his wife Sarah, who are both in the band, they did Christmas caroling. It's on the square and everything, but they did that one year. This is an article by Elise Nicholson. We've only had a few written, and she did two of them, and this is the only one I can find, unfortunately, but it was really cool that we got in the paper. That was really awesome. So and then Denver Bierman, I did a concert. There's a band called Denver the Mile High Orchestra, and he does solo concerts, and so that's from doing a concert with him. And then these are some posters of different concerts that happen at Limelight Eventplex when I worked there. Taking Back Sunday and Joey Hyde and some of those guys that there's also Eli Young Band, 3 Days Grace is over there as well. I have all of these chairs here. There was a church that was actually shutting down in Peoria. We're selling them for really cheap, and I've always wanted to get some really nice padded seats, because I know how for 7 years or so they had to use those really cruddy just metal folding chairs. It really hurts your butt. These are these nasty looking gray Manhasset stands, but they work. Usually they sell for over $50, and we got them for $10 a piece, so I bought a ton of them when I was working there. These are actually trade-ins from U of I. So if you're someone who went to U of I back in the day in the music department, these gray stands are from you guys. Thank you. I mean, they're not from you, but sort of. And then at each station, I guess you call it, I have a stand for either saxophones, trombones, or trumpets, and clarinets. Those are all on stage. I love on stage. They have great prices. And when I was working at a different music store, Kidder Music, I got a whole set for the whole band, so they're awesome. And I even got for the trumpets and trombones, I've gotten different mutes. That's their wah-wah mute. That's from On Stage. The straight mutes for trombones are still, they're in the boxes when I was cleaning stuff up, so that's where that's from. We have several of these, you can see over there, the bookshelves. We have several of them here. Those are actually from Kidder Music as well. Those held choir music. So they got new ones made up, and then those sat in the back because someone said they wanted them, and they held them there. We held them there for probably 2 months. And finally, I just said, listen, if no one is picking these up, and they're like, I don't know, the person said they want them. And I said, well, I'm just going to take them. So I actually had to saw those in half because there's 2 sides to them. So I sawed them in half, and then I just have used those as shelves, and they worked great, and they were free. So that was awesome. All these panels and this whole entire, you can see it go all the way around the room there. Looks like a big giant curtain. Those are the choir robe. Doesn't look like a creepy cult in here anymore, but it just looks, I think, pretty slick for being free. So these panels, actually, which you have seen obviously were a gigantic pain in the butt for me to put up and make, I have to say thank you, because all this material was free. Besides the wood, I did buy the wood. These are actually curtains that my grandmother gave the band. They were all the same size, so I based the size of the panels off of these because they fit these exactly. And then the other material I just cut to match. There's blankets on top of all these. So what happens is the sound goes up here, and then it bounces back and forth between the wall and goes into the blanket, so it really, really kills the sound. You can really hear a difference from like me standing right here, standing under here. It's a lot different. But I want to thank my grandmother, Betty, because she donated a lot of this fabric. I want to also thank Janet, and I'm sorry because I've never asked you this. Janet held, I hope it's held or healed. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know. For her and her mother donating. They donated a ton of towels and blankets that you can't visibly see, but they are all up there, and they're helping kill the sound really well. The other thing that was donated was this. This is an acoustic carpeting, which you usually put on walls if you're trying to like dampen a room that's just really, really bad. You'll just stick it to the wall. I got that from my father, and then there was also a guy who was giving away free plywood, and he also had a bunch of carpeting and the foam that you put under the carpet. So some of these have, when I ran out of towels and blankets, some of them have actual carpet. Yeah, like there it is. Yeah, so that's the carpet foam, and that's also doing a really great job. So thank you so much to those people. Acoustic treatment is so expensive. It's so expensive. And the Scasman, I can honestly say we have done all this acoustic treatment. I mean, it's insane. Look how much between the dresses, all the panels I've made, we did it for less than $150, I think, and that's just the wood that I had to buy, and like screws that I built them with. I mean, that's insane. This would take, I mean, I wish I could I need to find a number, but it would take thousands of dollars to do what we could do with people who donated stuff. Thank you so much. I really am so grateful. I'm not one, I don't really like to put up a lot of awards. I think it seems kind of conceited, but I found some things that I thought, why not? Where am I going to put them? So I put up, this was All-State. My senior year of high school, I wrote a piece called The Ironclads. And this guy, Joe Roman, who is the retired director from Canton, Illinois, he was there as a guest conductor, and he said, hey, you really have a great piece. I think you should enter it into All-State. And I said, you can enter something into All-State? I had no idea. He went out of his way to really help me get signed up for that. It was so kind of him, and I still am just so grateful that he did that. But he got me signed up, and you can still do it at the end of your senior year. So you can enter it in, and I won it technically when I was a freshman in college, but that's what that was from. Now this is the most important award of all. That's right. Perfect. Oh, that's how bad I am. Perfect attendance. That's right. Lincoln Grade School. Check it out. Yeah, and then I have a Louis Armstrong award I got in high school. This was a paper I had in the picture. A picture I had in the paper. Got to play in high school. We got to play for the state basketball competition. competition. Is that right? Yeah, state tournament, the state basketball tournament. And I played like one song. I feel bad because there's another guy who played like every song of the like before the game started, and I played one song. And when I sat down and started playing, this photographer came up and went, walked off, and then the next day it was in the paper. And that was, I mean, it's kind of cool. This right here is actually a letter of recommendation that was written by a friend of mine, Denny DeBourbon, and it's just, he said a lot of kind words, and to me that's the most important thing I have up in this whole entire place. So this right here is an old drum head from a band I was in called Jake Norris and the Caution Boys, and that was a drum head that my uncle actually had that printed. He got that printed on there, and yeah, so I just hang that up because it's good memories. And let's see, lastly, I think that's it, but the last thing I want to talk about is this drum set right here, my Green Beauty right here. This is a drum set that actually was given to me by a friend. I worked in high school at a restaurant called Den Hart's, which is no longer there, so rip Den Hart's. But the manager there, Richard, was a great friend of mine because he heard me playing Louis Armstrong while I was doing dishes or cleaning dishes in the back, and so he instantly was like, this is a good kid, I like this kid. And all these years later, he had this drum set and he called me up, and this was probably a couple, I don't know, a year ago maybe, and he called me up and said, hey, I have this drum set and I want to give it to you. And so this is the drum set, and it was covered. It was a black vinyl covering, and it was kind of old and cracking, so I took it all apart and I painted it, and this is like a green sparkle, and it actually is glow in the dark, but which was stupid of me because up here it's never really bright enough to charge it up, but it does glow in the dark. It had a 12-inch tom, 13, and a 16-inch floor tom. Now this is a 14-inch tom that is actually from the middle school I went to, Washington Middle School in Washington, Illinois. And this was an old tom that I remember was always in a locker because it was really old. It didn't match any other drum set or anything. It was just kind of a random piece. I helped a friend of mine who was doing an Eagle Scout project, and they built a new middle school, and that was where I went to my 8th grade year, and they left a bunch of stuff at the old school. So his project for his Eagle Scout badge was to do, is it a badge? Gosh, I'm saying things that someone's probably going to be like, it's not a badge, dude, it's something else or whatever. But the Eagle Scout honor was cleaning out the old school. So we would itemized everything that was there and sent a list to them and said, whatever you want us to bring, we'll bring back. And they said, we don't want anything. So we spent like so many days doing all this work, and they didn't want anything. So they just started like getting rid of stuff because it became a park district building. They didn't want it. So my friend Tom actually gave me that tom, and so it's kind of cool because I don't like 13-inch toms. So I took the 13-inch tom hardware and I put it on this one so it matches, and you really can't tell it's not from this drum set. Kind of a sentimental drum kit, and this just stays here. I don't ever take this anywhere. It just stays right here in the rehearsal space. I think the last thing is I made a couple adjustments here to the brass section. This is actually a drum clamp. Like I would put that on my drum set to put a tom holder or something, but somebody on Craigslist, someone on Facebook was selling these they were selling like 20 of them for $20. And it actually worked out really well because I kept forgetting to respond to them. And then they said they would take $10 for them. And so I grabbed them. But I got them here. And then these are mute holders that I got from a friend of mine who just cut up drumsticks that I put right there. Yeah, that's it. I think that's all for this segment. Thank you guys for watching. And if we make some more improvements, I'll make another video. And for that, stay safe. Hope everybody's doing well. Bye.